The timing screens on the second day of the final Bahrain test told a simple story. Mercedes on top, with their young prodigy Kimi Antonelli setting the fastest lap of the year so far. A fairy tale headline for sure. But as is always the case in Formula One testing, the real stories, the ones that actually tell us something about the season to come, were buried a little deeper. Because while Mercedes were enjoying the limelight, Ferrari were quietly revealing a secret weapon. Aston Martin was sinking deeper into a pre-season nightmare, and a heated engine war was being silently diffused behind closed doors. This is what Day 2 in Bahrain really told us. Let's start with the team that stole all the headlines without even trying: Ferrari. It was a day of bizarre contrasts for the Scuderia. On the one hand, Lewis Hamilton's final scheduled day of testing was, to put it mildly, scruffy. A technical issue kept him in the garage for a large part of the morning, limiting him to just 5 laps in the opening session. When he did get out for qualifying simulations in the evening, he made repeated errors, ending up over 0.6 off the ultimate pace. He called it not a perfect day, a classic piece of Hamilton understatement. But while the one-lap pace wasn't there, something else was. Something that could be far more important come the opening races of the season. Something that could prove to be Ferrari's trump card in the opening races. That trump card? The start. At the end of both the morning and afternoon sessions, the teams conducted practice starts, and on every single occasion, the Ferrari was in a class of its own. Sky Sports commentator David Croft was left almost speechless, calling Hamilton's car a rocket launcher as it catapulted off the line. In the afternoon session, Hamilton lined up 10th on the grid and, in the short run down to turn 1, blasted past 4 cars, including Max Verstappen, who started on pole. It was a stunning display of acceleration and control. Anthony Davidson, also on Sky, noted that Ferrari seems to have an advantage even over its own customer teams in this area. The paddock rumour is that Ferrari have designed a smaller turbo, allowing it to spool up faster and deliver instant power. If this advantage is real, it could be a game changer for the season ahead. As Davidson put it, they might not have the fastest car on the low fuel runs, but who cares when you can get off the grid and overtake 4 cars anyway? They've just got to get on the second row, and then that's job done. This is the kind of strategic advantage that could swing races, especially in the opening laps when positions are still being decided and the field is tightly bunched. And if the rocket launcher starts weren't enough to get the paddock talking, Ferrari's engineers rolled out a piece of technical innovation that had jaws on the floor up and down the pit lane. For a few runs in the morning, Hamilton's car was fitted with a rear wing that, when the active aero was engaged on the straights, saw the top flap rotate a full 180 degrees, effectively turning it upside down. It was one of the most radical concepts seen in years, and it immediately sparked intense debate among engineers and commentators alike. The immediate effect was a gain of around 8 to 10 kilometers per hour in top speed, a significant advantage on the straights. However, subsequent reports suggested this wasn't just a drag reduction device, but a clever energy-saving measure designed to work within the new 2026 regulations. Team principal Fred Vasseur was quick to downplay the significance, saying all teams are innovating, some just more visibly than others. He was non-committal about whether we'd see it in Melbourne, but the message was sent loud and clear. Ferrari isn't just relying on brute force, they're thinking outside the box and pushing the boundaries of what's possible within the regulations. If you want to stay on top of all the latest news and analysis from the world of Formula One, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers, and every single one of you helps us to keep bringing you the best F1 content on YouTube. Now, what about the team that actually topped the timesheets? On paper, it was a brilliant day for Mercedes. Kimi Antonelli, the teenage sensation, set a blistering 1 minute 32.803, the fastest lap of testing so far. He and George Russell combined for a massive 156 laps between them, showcasing the reliability and consistency that has been a hallmark of the Silver Arrows throughout their dominance of the sport. The sheer volume of running they completed puts them in a strong position heading into the season. But behind the scenes, a different story was unfolding. A heated row over engine compression ratios, which had been bubbling under the surface for weeks, finally came to a head during the test. Rumours of a Mercedes trick had been circulating throughout the paddock, with some suggesting they were exploiting a loophole in the regulations. But team boss Toto Wolff emerged from a meeting with the FIA and other power unit manufacturers to essentially wave the white flag. He stated that while he philosophically disagreed with the proposed rule changes, it simply wasn't worth the fight. He also angrily dismissed fresh speculation about the legality of their Petronas fuel, describing the allegations as baseless. It was a rare public glimpse into the political battles that rage behind the scenes in Formula One, and a sign that even when they're on top, Mercedes is facing pressure from all sides. The decision to back down suggests they've calculated that the benefits of fighting the rule change are outweighed by the cost of the political battle. While Mercedes and Ferrari were grabbing headlines for very different reasons, another team was in the news for all the wrong ones. Aston Martin's pre-season has been nothing short of a nightmare, and day 2 was no exception. Fernando Alonso, after managing just 68 laps, ground to a halt on track with another suspected power unit issue at turn 4. The car was hauled back to the garage, the screens came down to shield the mechanics from prying eyes, and that was the end of their day, a full 3 hours before the session ended. The stoppage not only cost them crucial track time, but also brought out a red flag that interrupted Hamilton's race simulation, affecting other teams as well. At the end of the day, Alonso's best time was a painful 4.6 seconds off the pace. For a team with championship aspirations and with Adrian Newey's legendary design expertise on board, this is a disastrous start to the season. The pressure is mounting on the entire technical team to find a solution. And fast. With the season starting in just over 2 weeks, they're running out of time to fix these fundamental issues. In stark contrast to Aston Martin's woes, the other 2 members of the Big Four had quietly productive days. Max Verstappen, with sole occupancy of the Red Bull, was a picture of relentless consistency. He churned out a massive 139 laps, running through comprehensive race simulations, testing various setup configurations, and experimenting with different methods to optimize the practice starts. He ended the day 3rd on the timesheets, just 0.359 seconds behind Antonelli. But as he noted, it was a long day, a lot of driving, a lot of testing. And the team had gone through their entire program without any major issues. This is the quiet confidence of a team that knows it has a strong package and is methodically working through their development plan. Similarly, McLaren had a solid day, with Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris combining for over 160 laps. Piastri's time was good enough for second overall, just 0.058 seconds behind Antonelli. And despite a brief on-track stoppage, the team looks to be in a very strong position. This solidifies the idea that there is a clear gap between the top 4 teams and the rest of the field. Further down the order, the midfield battle is already shaping up to be intense and competitive. Haas had what their team principal, Ayao Komatsu, called their most productive day of the whole year. They focused on tackling balance issues that had plagued them earlier in testing, and with both Ollie Behrman and Esteban Ocon giving identical feedback across their respective sessions, it seems they've found a clear direction for development. This consistency in driver feedback is crucial because it means the team has a stable platform to build on rather than chasing different setups. Alpine also had a strong showing, with Franco Colapinto racking up 120 laps and setting the 6th fastest time, putting them firmly in the mix for the midfield battle. Williams and the newly branded Racing Bulls also had solid, unspectacular days, focusing on mileage accumulation with Alex Albon and Liam Lawson respectively. And Audi, in their first year as a works team, continued their learning process with Nico Hülkenberg and Gabriel Bortoleto sharing driving duties. And what of the new American team, Cadillac? After a difficult start to their F1 journey, day 2 was a significant step forward. They managed to complete 108 laps between their 2 drivers, Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas, a huge improvement on their previous efforts. While they are still a long way off the pace, more than 2.5 seconds behind the frontrunners, this was a day of crucial learning and data gathering for the new squad. For a team starting from scratch with no prior F1 experience as a constructor, every lap is a victory. And this was a day of many small victories for the Cadillac crew. So, what did day 2 of the final test really tell us? It told us that headlines can be deceiving. It told us that while Mercedes may have the 1-lap pace, Ferrari has a secret weapon in its starts, and a radical new wing that has the whole paddock talking. It told us that Red Bull and McLaren are quietly confident, racking up the miles and looking ominously strong heading into Melbourne. And it told us that for Aston Martin, the dream is rapidly turning into a nightmare. The battle lines are being drawn, the pecking order is starting to emerge, and the stage is set for a fascinating start to the 2026 season. The final day of testing will reveal a few more clues, but the real answers will only come when the lights go out in Australia.